The Infocom Development Authority of Singapore first mooted the idea of the next generation national broadband network in 2005. Fast forward some 7 years, as of November 2011, and 83% of Singaporean households and offices are now wired up to the network. Singapore's Minister of Information, Communications and the Arts, Yaacob Ibrahim, also said in January this year that the NBN coverage is on track to hit the projected 95% by mid-2012. Here to give us an update on the NBN's progress is the IDA's Assistant Chief Executive, Kong Hock Yun, who also shares how companies and consumers are using the fibre network.
Right now, we are past 80% as far as the rollout is concerned. We are very much on track to reach 95% rollout by June of this year. And after that, we would have universal services obligation on the operators by the 1st of January 2013. Well, since having the NGNBN ready for services, we have now 18 retail service providers that have signed up to offer services. At OpCo layer, we have 7 OpCos. And this is a tremendous change. I mean, just imagine 2 years ago, we probably only have 2 providing services. And now you have 18 at the RSP, 7 at the OpCo layer. In terms of the number of end users who have taken up fibre, we call it fibre-based services, we are very much on track to hit 100,000 subscribers by February of this year. So that will be our first 100,000 subscribers on the network, and we see that easily increasing by at least 10,000 subscribers per month thereafter.
The IDA has also been active in growing the services ecosystem. We asked Kong how the regulator has been attracting service providers to make use of the NBN.
In terms of services, I believe that as the network is ready and pervasive, and as you get a lot more companies on board offering services, there will be much more innovation, things that people will try, things that people will deploy across to various sectors in the economy. Pure vanilla broadband access, but at much higher speeds, is what we have always seen. The advantage is that what we've seen is that you get much higher speeds, much better quality of the speed in terms of latency, jitter rates, those things, at a lower price. So that's the first thing. So we see a huge amount of increased competition at the basic broadband level. The next thing is that various services such as cloud computing services, such as video services, gaming services, services which, storage services are now beginning to come on board, and you see more and more companies using such services through the next-gen NBN.
One such service provider is video conferencing software provider VSee, which opened its Singapore office late last year. Christina Ng, the company's tech advisor to the CEO, tells us how the next-gen broadband network has helped the company in its business.
VSee is actually a secure multi-party video chat software, and users can do application sharing and file transfer with just a single click. So we're actually backed by IQT and Salesforce back in California. And in November this year, IDA actually offered us a IBEST grant for the NBN service providers, and that's why we now have a local entity in Singapore. In terms of NBN, it's actually pretty comparable with the fibre networks that are offered in the States. However, for a lot of countries in this region, the last mile bandwidth is very much still a challenge. But the NBN actually solves that problem because it offers higher bandwidth and lower latency among the users. So VSee, for us, we are a peer-to-peer software. So with the higher bandwidth, we can now afford to offer HD telepresence to all our users who are subscribers of the NBN.
However, ISPs have recently come out to criticize the NBN network company, OpenNet, for the slower than expected progress in connecting customers, particularly non-residential ones. OpenNet is responsible for building the fibre infrastructure of the NBN. We asked Kong how this is impacting the deployment roadmap.
We would always prefer the route to be faster, for OpenNet to be able to deploy faster to businesses. In terms of the residential market, it's not that bad. I think they are meeting up to plan. But the non-residential market, the enterprise market, is where we would hope OpenNet would be able to work a lot better with the building managers on the ground and to be able to deploy quickly. I think when broadband was, NGNBN was first rolled, it was a lot of promise. People wanted everything tomorrow. And we have been rolling out for the last 2 years. And remember, it is a very, very extensive network rollout. I mean, we have now covered 890,000 homes and going beyond 1 million. So there's a lot of work that's going on the ground. As usual, OpenNet has to bear all those issues on the ground. They should respond to it, and we would want them to respond quickly. In fact, we always wanted to be able to respond faster and more effectively.
StarHub is one retail service provider, or RSP, that has highlighted the slow enterprise uptake. Head of StarHub's Enterprise Business Group, Kevin Lim, told ZDNet Asia that OpenNet is failing to meet requests for service dates and not providing replacement time slots. This leaves RSPs such as StarHub with no information as to when the NetCo will actually install the connections, Lim said in an email interview. OpenNet is required to provision non-residential circuits within 10 business days of the customer's request, but Lim said the maximum number of orders the NetCo will process each week is only 2,400. This low OpenNet fulfillment quota has led to service activation delays for our customers wanting next-gen NBN services. We urge OpenNet to be more flexible in its operations and increase its quota to meet the growing demand for fibre broadband. Kung Tu acknowledges the challenge, but says the NBN is a greenfield project and OpenNet will face challenges on the ground.
A lot of people are talking about having OpenNet run faster in the non-residential area, because in the non-residential sector is where a lot of higher profit margins can be earned. That's what people hope. But at the same time, one would realize one thing. Next-gen NBN is a greenfield network rollout, and so they have to work with the building managers on the ground to gain access. Sometimes there are issues on the ground where people talk about who bears insurance, who bears damages, are there alternatives when certain areas get choked up. So there are problems on the ground that are unique to each individual building. You can't have a one-size-fits-all solution. And so what we require is OpenNet to be able to take a more proactive position and to try to do some of these surveys, try to resolve as much of the issues on the ground prior to even tenants ordering the service. If they do that, it should smooth things out a lot faster. Today, I think from a resource limitation point of view, OpenNet has not been able to run as fast as I think most of the industry would prefer them to be able to run.
We asked Kung if there's more that IDA can do to spur NBN uptake, and what consumers can expect to see from service providers in the near future.
Some of the things that we do would be very much in the area of education. So we have set up what we call the iExperience Center, where we would showcase some of the possibilities both for the consumers as well as for enterprise users. And we have brought in many people from all walks of life through the iExperience Center, so they can see, look, feel, touch, and say that, this is reality, and what does it mean for them, whether they are consumer or they are enterprise user, whether they're a manager or they're somebody who's a developer of software. So that's one piece of work. The second piece of work is that as the various operators work with building managers, the last time we had a very major network rollout was probably in the late 90s. So along the way, people may have sort of forgot what are their roles and responsibilities as far as dealing with telcos while rolling out networks. So we have again come out and educated them that these are their rights, these are their roles, these are their responsibilities, who pays for what, and how, in case there are disputes, how these things can be resolved and resolved quickly. So managing some of these issues, areas that we are looking to. The third area is we continue to spearhead development of new services, next generation services. We support a lot of work in cloud computing. We support a lot of work in creating new videos. We also work with many of the schools and governments in adoption of next-gen NBN. I think as we started looking at next-gen NBN, one of the things that was foremost on our mind is to make sure the network is robust, make sure that the prices are competitive. So the structure where you bring in many service providers that can make use of the network and offer services at the wholesale level or the retail level was important as far as generating competition, which then ensures price competitive services. So I think for many of the consumers, the first thing they see is the price. The second thing they see is that, oh, it's super fast. So that is the first thing that they will see. What we want to see the next stage is that these are the type of services that, you know, really exploit the true capabilities of this network. And I think the third part will be coming.